Welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Sukhane, and joining me is long-time friend of the show, Olsen Kahiriri. Welcome back. Should I even say welcome back? You are a regular.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
We had just recently, or the Chamber of Mines of Namibia hosted their mining expo, a big highlight in the mining industry. And one of the things, or something that is being spoken about, or that is enjoying quite a lot of coverage, is this issue of 51% in new mining ventures in Namibian hands. On the one hand, this creates the illusion that Namibians are, or should, or government or Namibians get 51% in a new mining venture. We don't know if it's carry-free interest or whether Namibians will have to raise, or government will have to raise the capital required for that. But if you are the investor, you've done exploration for gold, for copper, whatever mineral there may be, don't you see this as a possible deterrent?
Let's be honest, it's business. If you want to take shares from a business, what do you bring in? Now, in terms of government, you probably would claim that the resources and those underneath the swell belongs to you. And because it belongs to you, whoever wants to mine there, I will only give you 49% shares. And 51% is mine as the government. Is that a realistic business approach? What do you bring in? As government? 49% shares to those who wants to invest into it. You own the 51% loyalties. And then this very same institution also needs to pay tax. So that will increase the percentage, isn't it?
Yes.
Because apart from the 51% shares, you also get to get the tax out of this whole business. Is it doable? But my question always, when I'm always here in your show, is where did the person that is saying it, where did he get it? We remember the president that came into power said that she is going to implement the SWAPO manifesto. Have you read 51% shares in all minings in the SWAPO manifesto? No. So this is just a crazy lunatic who came there, called himself a minister, and makes such reckless statements, scaring investors away. Sometimes this is not politics. This is business. On one side, you are looking for investors. On the other side, you are scaring them. And you are bringing such statements in the peak of the times when we have discovered oil. So I don't know, these people want to attract news or what, I don't know. But for you to say we have to take 51 ownership in all mines, do we have the capital to invest in those projects? Do we? Here we have Namibia, Namcor.
No, not Namcor. I think you are referring to Epangelo.
Epangelo, yeah. We have Epangelo. What mining interest did they do?
10% in Husab.
10% in Husab mine, I'm not mistaken. What is the return of that 10%? Have they come back to the public and tell us their progress? So how are we going to do the 51% shareholding into those mining sectors? So that's the tricky part. But we have established businesses that are they doing well? And every time you move into those parastatals, you would see flow of money going to friends, family, defrauding the system. Because recently we started making headlines of arresting people who have been defrauding us in large scale. So before you do that, you must be quiet, you must be careful. Did they do a proper research for them to say, we are going to take 51% shares in all mining sectors?
New mining ventures.
And this is how we are going to do it. Proper researched. I don't know. You see, people from other countries are seeing us and establish that people who are running this country has created the environment as a circus. That's the best word you can put. Because they make irrational decisions. They do business engagement with the USA, China, and other countries. But with that thinking, is this the people we put at the forefront to negotiate deals on behalf of our country? Even an 80-year-old cannot make such statements, because you cannot put a government statement like that one without doing research. But they are saying they are doing it out of the SWAPO manifesto, which does not say anything about that. Maybe they want to become like these leftist politicians who always want to say, nationalize the mines and all these things. Now they want to grab that without knowing what they are saying. Ovambolan People's Organization is not a leftist political party, and it will never be a leftist political party. So such statements should come from a leftist political party. Those who are in politics would be able to understand when I say leftist.
You referred to oil and gas. As we were having this conversation about this 51%, we don't know if it's carry-free or whether there's going to be money involved. And you have oil majors that still have to make final investment decisions on the projects. We're talking about Shell and Total Energies. How helpful are such comments in light of these critical decisions that need to be made by these oil majors?
They are disastrous. Recently, we had these guys from the USA, is it Africon, who were here, were trying to see if there's, if we are at risk with a terrorist group and all these things. But their biggest interest is what? Their biggest interest is those businesses. After you have engaged with these people, the very same government, 2 weeks down the line, you make such a statement. Now what if they pull out? Because currently, from the previous president, we don't know the agreement between the likes of Total and them in the discovering of oil and all these things. We don't know their share prices, share portion that they do have. But after your announcement of that, and they still find new places where they can drill and all these things, which means that you must give them what? 49% shares. They must do all the things and all the things. And then you as a government takes 51%. So it's something that should be checked carefully, not by making statements. Well, we have resources in this country, but do we have the capacity and finance to mine, to do the drilling? We were already struggling to find money in the, what is it, this
Green hydrogen.
green hydrogen project. We are shareholders, but we could not even raise the money that we should put forth.
But arguably, green hydrogen is a new industry that is yet to prove itself. So surely there would be challenges in raising money.
My brother, they were Kutu gas. What happened to it? Everybody was excited, Kutu gas, Kutu gas. It just fainted away. It's gone. And I think with our current leadership, there's a trend that every president that comes with one project of billions of dollars that just drain money out of this country, probably to enrich their cronies or so. Because from the look of things now, in Namibian parastatals and government activities, it is very clear that people are defrauding this country. They are defrauding this country, and everybody who succeeds defrauding this country uses the name of Ovambo Land People's Organization, aka SWAPO. And we are protecting them. And I don't know why. And the Namibian people must just continue voting those people into power. And those that are put into power, like the granny that is now in charge, they must just keep on destroying this country. Because us, the Namibian people, love these people destroying this country. And let's see in 10 years whether we'll have a country or not. Because from the look of things, if you look, we are listening. We are in courts listening to how these people were not stealing. These people were just taking our resources. Taking. And we are protecting them.
But why would you say that individuals are being protected if we have, on at least 2 instances, one issue related to Fishcore where people were arrested, they still have to, well, that matter has not reached the High Court stage yet, but they still need to prove their innocence. Obviously, when it reaches that stage, we don't know what will happen. And in the second instance, we now have what is infamously being dubbed whale rot, where in the same instance again, public institution, allegations of self-gratification, and we have people that have been that are currently arrested and are fighting for bail. Surely you cannot say that we are just allowing people to get away with what they want to do.
That's a tip of the iceberg. That's a tip of the iceberg. You want to tell me our money is disappearing? Municipalities are not run properly. Kanjeke comes with reports. And we are not doing anything. And you are giving me example of 2 cases where you have arrested people who have defrauded this country. Where's the others? Go to the Ministry of Health. Open those files. They are there. I know they are sitting at the ACC. There's a lot of things going on in this country. People have destroyed this country, and when these things are coming out, those who are in charge of the country say it's a political witch hunt. I know that our president, the granny, was in South Africa, where all this cabal of the founding,
the liberation
the liberation movements, they were there in SA. What was she saying? Foreigners are trying to hijack countries. Did the foreigners tell you that you must eat the whole fish dry from the ocean?
Hold that thought for me, sir. Hold that thought. We will be back shortly. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the evening review. Still joining me in studio is an old-time friend of the show, Olsen Kahiriri. Commissar, before we went on a break and before you went off on your charade about liberation movements and so on, there's something that came to mind because you mentioned local authorities, and we find there's a situation playing itself out where local authorities across the country contracted a debt collection agency, Red Force, on the one hand. On the other hand, you have a Minister of Urban and Rural Development that is fighting tooth and nail to have these contracts be cancelled. Does this not reek of interference in governance issues at local authority level?
The last time I checked, services for public entity as well as government is procured through the Public Procurement Act. And Section 25(1)(b) gives the powers to the accounting officer. That's the person who's responsible for the Public Procurement Act. Now, I know that James Amkwasa is not an accounting officer. He's not an ED. And he's not a CEO of a municipality. Now, you should ask him. You are a journalist. Go find him and ask him where he got those powers. From the ED or the Chief Executive Officer. And I would believe that if you look at the object of the Public Procurement Act, effectiveness, fair dealing, competitiveness, and all these things, and I would believe that Red Force has successfully procured those services through the Public Procurement Act. They were the successful bidder.
Yeah.
And if they are a successful bidder, there's a contract in place. And that contract has a time frame. I've not read them because they differ from municipality to municipality. So there's a time frame. Now, if that time frame has not ended, how do you cancel the contract? And if it was a national bid, open national bid,
Yeah.
then that whole contract must be re-advertised. And you can't stop Red Force taking part in the next procurement. What Samkwasa recklessly did is he is destroying the image of Red Force. And I'm saying this because I'm also a businessman. And in terms of Article 21(1)(j), every person in this country's rights are protected to practice any business or profession. It's guaranteed there. Now what James is doing is recklessly making those statements that has potential for his name and the government's name to be sued. And Red Force was in court several occasions, and they have won cases, and they have the potential to take on James Amkwasa in his personal capacity and the government, the ministry that he is running. Now he issued directives. And I know in terms of procurement, the only person who has the right to issue directives in respect of relaxation of the Public Procurement Act is the Minister of Finance. And I know that James doesn't know how to work with figures, money. So I've not seen him being appointed as a Minister of Finance. Now, where did he get those powers? I think the president must put a stop to this guy because he is a danger to himself and the ministry that he's running. Because I don't know where he got those powers. And I also agree with the other municipalities and town council that are refusing to follow his directive because his directive is irregular, unlawful, void ab initio. He doesn't have a locus standi to make statements that he has made. Apparently writing a letter and saying these contracts must be cancelled. He's targeting someone's business. That is close to what is happening, what was happening in South Africa, when people were saying foreigners must go, we must push them out of the country, and it's hate speech and all these things. That is what he's inviting. He can't do that. So if they have issues with Red Force, and you are cancelling Red Force, and Red Force is doing well for those municipalities,
Yes.
on the basis that they are collecting the rates and taxes. I also pay rates and taxes. Sometimes I'm also behind. But the municipalities has found someone who will do that for them. Now, if they pull the plug off, is James Sankwaza going to collect the rates and taxes for the Window municipality? I know he does not have that knowledge to do that. So, is he going to hire people who are going to do that for those municipalities and pay them? So sometimes when we make statements, we must be careful, because it's a government that we are talking of. He sits in cabinet, that James.
Yes.
We have issues of human resources at the ministry or at government level. A dispute is taking 2 years. It's not finalized. Start fixing those problems. The only quasi-judicial structures that I can see is working is probably the Public Procurement Review Panel. Very fast. The Labour Commission's office, there's a problem there. The courts, cases are piling up. No magistrate, no judges. Cases are delayed. These are things you must first fix before saying I'm pulling a plug and I'm creating all these municipalities. They must see how they collect these debts without having the knowledge, the people who can do that. So I don't know. These people, I don't know where they wake up from. And then they just start making statements. I don't know whether they sit in cabinet and decide these things, or where do they get this from. So my advice to the president is stop James Sankwaza, otherwise he's a danger to himself and you as a president. That's it.
I want to move the conversation on a bit. The launch of NDP6, a little over a month ago, it was launched. The president gave an overview of what she described as the first 100 days in office. And there was an update that she shared with the nation that spoke to what was being done with regards to the revival of an airline. This is quite a sticky issue, given the history of Air Namibia and the monies that went into keeping Air Namibia afloat. And now we are potentially speaking about the revival of a national airline. We don't know what it will be called, but for argument's sake, we have airlines flying into Namibia bringing tourists in. There's a domestic airline that is facilitating travel in country to the north and to the southern west coast of Namibia. So surely one would ask, where's the sense in reviving an airline if we had this failed project that costs government billions and billions in just keeping it afloat?
You see, parastatals are purposely failed by those who are in charge of them. And Air Namibia was one of them. There are people we put in those portfolios that are destroying everything they lay their hands on. It's just destruction. And these are the very same people we rotate everywhere. You'd see him working here at Midco, tomorrow UNAM, tomorrow where these are the people we're circulating because they are from our ruling party, Okangomi. The Air Namibia issue, or airline, to say the least, is a tough one. And if one wants to start one, there must be proper research done. And I keep emphasizing every time.
Going back
research,
to your 51%.
Research. So are we going to do the airline 51% and 49% to a private sector? Or how are we going to do it? Are we going to fully run it? But what I can't grasp is we have Midcom, we have Savannah, we have NBC, One Africa Television, and your television also. NTV. But my question is, why is the private sector successful and the public sectors awful? Why? If we keep employing clowns, what they produce will not be something different from a circus. That's the reality. So our problem is we just sold in Namibia. We liquidated it.
Liquidated, you mean?
We liquidated it. There's no Air Namibia. And you want to start this thing. And the person who liquidated it and the person who wants it revived or created again is the same political party, SWAPO. And you ask me about the NDP, National Development Plans, Stage 6.
Yeah.
So our goalpost was 2030. What have we built? Are the children now taught in classroom, the whole country? Because that was your plan, isn't it? Are we in charge of the fishing industry? Do we still produce matchbox? Or are we importing? Because this is where you must now match what I have achieved. Because we gave SWAPO 30 years running this country on a blank check. They decided how the budget was and all these things, and we were giving them the blank check. Now, 4 years down the line, it's the plan that they have set. And whoever came with that plan of the Vision 2030 was so smart, because by 2030, SWAPO would not be in power, and you will not be able to go and hold them accountable. They planned it very well. So go and ask at Heroes Eka, at the graves of those presidents who were there for the Vision 2030. They will be able to tell you.
Commissar, thank you very much for joining us on the Evening Review.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Have yourself a pleasant evening.